Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Level 2. We've got the Training Qualifications UK Exam Board. This is Sample Assessment Paper 2, and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Question 1. Work out 0.872 plus 0.15. So let's write this out one above the other, and we're going to line up decimal points. So we've got 0.15. And then what I can do, so that we've got something to add here, or like a placeholder, I'm just going to put a 0 there. Okay, so we've got 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 5 is 12. So we put the 2, carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus another 1 is 10. Put the 0, carry the 1. Bring the decimal point down, and we've got 0 plus 0 plus 1. So we've got our answer as 1.022. Question 2. Work out 2.205 times 4. So we're going to do this in a similar way to the previous question, but I'm not putting the decimal point in. I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to put it back in afterwards. So we've got 4 times 5. We've got 5, 10, 15, 20. So put the 0, carry the 2. 4 times 0, or 4 times nothing, is nothing. Add the 2 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times 2 again is another 8. Now, with the decimal point, we had 3 decimal places after it. So we want to have 3 decimal places in our answer. So if we start at the end and move it 1, 2, 3, we're going to put it in there, which gives us 8.82. We could keep the 0 at the end, but because it's now after the decimal point, right at the end, we don't need to have that there. Question 3. A cyclist cycles 3 miles in 10 minutes. What is the cyclist's average speed in miles per hour? mph. Okay, so we've got to think, well, in an hour, we've got 60 minutes. Okay, so we want to know, well, how many times bigger is 60 minutes than 10 minutes. So what we can say is, well, let's take the 60 and divide it by the 10 to see how many times it goes into it. Well, because we're dividing, we can cancel the zeros there. So we've got 6 divided by 1, which is just 6. Okay, so we've got 3 miles in 10 minutes. If we've got 6 lots of those, basically we want 6 times 3. And 6 times 3, or 3 times 6, we're going to have 6, 12, 18. So we've got 18 miles per hour. Okay. So 3 miles in 10 minutes, but 18 miles in 60 minutes, which is the same as 18 miles in 1 hour. Question 4. Write 0.86 as a fraction and as a percentage. Well, as a fraction, this is just going to be 86 out of 100. Now, as a percentage, well, we're going to need to multiply that by 100. So it would be 86 out of 100 times 100. So in other words, these are going to cancel, and we just get 86%. Because by definition, 86% means 86 out of 100. Question 5. Jordan goes out for lunch. The bill comes to £20. Jordan wants to leave extra money as a tip. The extra money is 18% more than the bill. What is the total amount that Jordan will pay. Okay, so let's start off by thinking we want to work out what 18% of £20 is. That's going to be our starting point. So we could do 18 over 100 times 20, but I think that sounds... well, I'm going to go for a slightly more straightforward method, although you might disagree. So I'm going to start off by saying, well, I know what 10% of £20 would be. Because 10%, you divide by 10, you just take the 0 off. So 10% would be £2. Right. Now we can say, well, let's think of 18%. How can we get it close to 10 or close to a multiple of 10? Well, we can say 18 is like 20 minus 2. Okay, well, we can work out what 20% of £20 is, because it's going to be 2 lots of this. It's going to be 2 times 2, so it's going to be £4. Now, let's see if we said we want to take 2 off. We've got 20%, so we want to take 2% off to get down to 18%. If 10% of 20 is £2, 1% of £20, well, we're going to divide by 10 again. So we'll move the decimal point to here. So it's going to be £0.2 or 20p. We want to get 2%. So again, 2 is double 1. So if we double 20p, 2 lots of 20p is going to be 40p. So we go back to our 18 is 20 minus 2. So the 20 is £4 and the 2 is 40p. Now we can do this. What should we do? Let's do this over here. So we want £4 minus 40p. Now you can probably do this in your head. I might be overcomplicating it now, but this is just to show how you would work it out, especially if you had slightly less straightforward figures. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 you can't do because 4 is bigger than 0. So we can reduce this to 3, make that 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. Bring down the decimal point. 3 minus 0 is still 3. So we get an answer. Oh no, we get an answer of £3.60. Now that is the tip. We want to know the total amount that it'll pay. Well, it's going to be the original £20 plus the £3.60 tip. Now hopefully I could work it through, but you're going to see that that's just going to give us, if we add £3.60 to £20, we're going to get £23.60. Question 6. Work out the median of these numbers. So to work out the median, we need to rank them in order from smallest to largest first of all. So what's the smallest? 2000, that's the smallest one. Then we got in the 3000, in 3000s that's 2. And 3. We got 2 in the 5000s. That's exactly 5,000. Then 5,500. And then 6,600. So now let's write them in order. So 2,500, 3,000, 4,250, 5,000, 5,500 and 6,600. We want the middle one, so we cross off the smallest and the largest, and the next smallest and the next largest. Because we're left with 2, we need to add them together and divide it by 2. So let's add them together. 4,250 plus 5,000. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 5 is 9. Now we need to divide by 2. So we can use the bus stop method. So how many times does 2 go into 9? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 4 times with 1 left over. How many times does 2 go into 12? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's 6 times. What about 2 into 5? Well, we've got 2, 4. That's twice and 1 left over. And 2 into 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 5 times. So we get an answer for the median of 4,625, which should be exactly halfway between 4,250 and 5,000. Question 7. A map has a scale of 1 to 50,000. A school and a supermarket are 2.5 centimetres apart on the map. How far apart are the school and supermarket in real life? Give the answers in your answer. Okay, so what this is saying is 1 centimetre on the map would be equal to 50,000 centimetres in real life. So if we've got 2.5 centimetres on the map, we're going to want 2.5 times 50,000. That's going to tell us how many centimetres there are in real life. Okay, this might be a bit messy to work out, so I'm going to ignore the zeros for now, and I'm just going to say, well, let's just do 2.5 times 5. In fact, I'm going to ignore the decimal point as well. So I've ignored the zeros, ignored the decimal point. We're going to do 25 times 5. 5 times 5 is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And 2 times 5 is 10, and the 2 is 12. So we've got 125. Okay, well, we need to put the decimal point in and the zeros back on. Well, I'm going to put the zeros back on first of all. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's for those zeros. But then we have got the decimal point. So the decimal point is like moving it from the end back in. So if we're making that 0.5, we're going to put a decimal point there, which means now this is our answer. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have, I'll move this up, 125,000, and that's going to be in centimetres. Now you might have converted it into different units, that's fine. It doesn't say which units to use, it just says give the units in your answer. So as long as the units agree with the number, anyway would be fine. Question 8. A company gives its staff 6 pizzas to share. Each pizza is cut into 8 slices. On the first day, the staff eat 3 whole pizzas and 5 additional slices. On the next day, they eat another 10 slices of pizza. How much pizza is left after the second day? Give your answer as a mixed number. Okay, so we're going to start by thinking about how many slices of pizza we've got in total. So we're going to have 6 pizzas cut into 8 slices. So we want 6 times 8. So we've got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So we've got 48 slices in total. So on the first day, the staff eat 3 whole pizzas. So that's going to be 3 times 8, because there's 8 slices in each pizza, and 5 additional slices. So then add 5. Well, 3 8s would have 8, 16, 24, plus 5, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, so on the first day they're going to eat 29 slices. On the next day they eat another 10 slices. So 29 plus 10, it's a nice one, we just add the 10 on. That's going to be 39 slices. How much is left? So we start with 48. We want to subtract 39. Well, actually with this one, because we can see 48 and 39 are quite close, we can actually count up from 39. So we'd have 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So that's 9. So 9 slices are left, but they've said give your answer as a mixed number. So they want to know how many whole pizzas and then how many parts of a pizza. Well, if there's 8 slices in one pizza, we're going to have 1 whole pizza and then we're going to have 1 piece left. And that 1 piece is 1/8 of a pizza. So we can write that as 1 and 1/8. Okay, and we can go straight on to the calculator section now. So we've got question 1. Put these numbers in order, starting with the lowest. Okay, well, all of these numbers are negative numbers. So by lowest, they mean the most negative. So, or in other words, the biggest actual number. Because they're all negative, we can just say, what's the biggest one? That's the biggest. So that's going to be the most negative. 800 minus 865. Then minus 820. Then minus 814. And then actually the smallest number, the biggest number is the least negative one, which is this minus 811. So we now just need to write them in here. So number 1, minus 865, then minus 820, then minus 814, and then minus 811. And I've just realised you can't see any of those, so I'll show you there. Okay. Question 2. There are 2.54 centimetres in 1 inch. How many inches are there in 127 centimetres? So with this one, we're going to say, well, we've got 127. We want to know how many 2.54s go into it. So in other words, divided by 2.54. And we've got our calculator here. 127 divided by 2.54. And we get 50. Okay, calculate 12 squared minus 3 times 2.1. So we've got to think of our order of operations. What do we do first? Well, we're going to do the power first, the square bit. And this 12 squared means 12 times itself. So 12 times 12 is 144. So I'm just going to do this one step at a time. So we can now replace that with 144 minus 3 times 2.1. Now the next thing we need to do is the multiplication. That comes before subtraction. So we want 3 times 2.1. Which gives us 6.3. So we can now replace that for this. So we've got 144 minus 6.3. And then we just work that out with the calculator. So 144 minus 6.3 gives us 137.7. So we can put that in our answer box. Okay, question 4. Write down the coordinates of the point labelled on the grid. Okay, so we want to have our x coordinate first, which is the across. So we go down here. So we're going to have minus 5. And then we're going to read across to our y-axis. So this is our y-axis. This is our x-axis. So on the y-axis, we've got 3. So minus 5, 3. And we can put that in here. Question 5. Work out the value of angle A. Well, I know that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So we've got a quadrilateral. So I know the total of all these angles is going to be 360 degrees. So if we work out what these three are worth, we know the difference will be this angle here. So we want 120 plus 80 plus another 120. That gives us 320 degrees. So now we want the difference. So 360 degrees is all of them. If we subtract 320 degrees, we're left with 40 degrees. Question 6. A gardener has a circular flower bed in the centre. A garden has a circular flower bed in the centre. The diameter of the flower bed is 1.38 metres. So let's just draw that. So we've got a circle. The diameter, that's the distance from one side to the other going through the centre. And that's 1.38 metres. Children make fairy lights to go all around the edge of the flower bed. So around here. The total length of the fairy lights is 4.5 metres. Are the fairy lights long enough to decorate all around the edge of the flower bed? Show how you decide. Use pi equals 3.14. So in other words, we want this distance around the outside, which is the circumference. And the circumference is equal to, well, you might remember it as 2 pi r or pi d. So depending on whether you've got the radius or the diameter, we've got the diameter, so we're going to use this one here, pi d. So the circumference equals pi, which they've told us is 3.14. And when we get a letter next to a symbol or a letter next to another letter, it means we multiply. So we want 3.14 times 1.38. Which gives us 4.3332, and that's in metres. Well, the total length of the fairy lights is 4.5 metres. Well, 4.5 is greater than 4.3332. So, are they long enough? Yes, they are. Question 7. Charlie recently used 14 litres of paint to decorate the living room walls. The total area painted was 91 metres squared. Charlie now wants to paint the bedroom walls. The total area to be painted is 78 metres squared. Charlie has 11 litres of paint. Does Charlie have enough paint? Okay, so what we can do is we can say, well, let's work out how many metres squared we can cover with 1 litre of paint. So in other words, if we do 91, divide it by 14, this will be how much paint will cover 1 metre squared. So that's 6.5. That's going to be metres squared. And I'll put per litre. Okay. Well, we can think of it in two ways. Well, he's got 11 litres of paint. What we can do is say, well, if he's got 11 litres of paint and each litre covers 6.5 metres squared, this will tell me how much area can be covered. So we've got the 6.5 multiplied by 11. So it can cover 71.5 metres squared. Well, that is less than the 78 metres squared that we need. So does Charlie have enough paint? No, unfortunately not. Question 8. Morgan is planning a holiday and finds this information. Greenland, average temperature is 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Iceland, average temperature is minus 11 Celsius. So different units here. Morgan wants to go to the warmer country. Which country should Morgan go to? Show how you decide. Well, we've got a formula here for working out Celsius. So let's use this to work out the degrees for Greenland in Celsius. So I'm going to just substitute my value for F first of all. So we've got 5. Remember, a number next to a thing means that we multiply, but I'll keep my brackets there. F is now 14 minus 32. Everything else stays the same. Now the first thing we need to do is the bit in brackets. So the 5 is still there, 5 times, but 14 minus 32 is minus 18. So sometimes we write that in brackets to show the minus goes with it, and then we divide it by 9. Well, if we've got minus 18 multiplied by 5, that's going to give me minus 90. And it's still divided by 9. So minus 90 divided by 9 gives us minus 10. And that is going to be in degrees Celsius. So I'll write it up here. Greenland is minus 10 degrees Celsius. Iceland is minus 11 degrees. We want the warmer country. Well, minus 10 is going to be warmer than minus 11. Not a lot, but it will be a bit. So which country should you go to? Greenland. And we can put minus 10 is greater than minus 11. Question 9. This year, Joe's gym membership price has increased by 5%. The new monthly price is £33.60. How much did Joe pay for an entire year's membership last year? Okay. Right. A couple of ways to think of it. We're going to have to change, so we're going to have to take off 5%. But also, this is a monthly price, and they're talking about an entire year. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a full year. So I'm going to multiply that by 12. So £33.60 times 12 means for the full year, it's £403.20. Okay, but that had increased by 5%, so that represents 105%. We want to go back to the original amount, so we only want 100%. So what we've got to do is 403.2 divided by 105. That will tell us what 1% is, and then we can multiply by 100 to get to the 100%. So 403.2 divided by 105, that's how much 1% would cost. Multiply it by 100, get £384. Question 10. An athletics club awards points each year to its members. In 2021, the club awarded its members a mean of 90.3 points in the year. The group frequency table shows the points the club awarded its members in 2022. So 7 people were awarded between 0 and 40 points, 34 people were awarded between 40 and 80 points, 100 people were awarded between 80 and 120 points, and 9 people were awarded between 120 and 160 points. and there are 150 people in total. The club president says the mean number of points per member in 2022 has increased since 2021. Is the president correct? So we need to work out the mean of this data. Now, to work out the mean, we need the total. So that's going to be the total number of points awarded to all the members, and then we divide it by the frequency, or how many members there are. To work out the total, well, it's going to be difficult because we don't know exactly, like these 7 people, we don't know exactly how many points they got. They could all have got 0, they could all have got 39, they could have got some in between. So what we're going to do is to work out a midpoint and say, let's assume everyone got halfway in between these ranges. And the way we work out that midpoint is we take the smallest value, add the biggest value, and divide by 2. So we get 20. Do the same again. 40 plus 80 divided by 2 is 60. Same again. 80 plus 120 divided by 2 is 100. And 120 plus 160 divided by 2 is 140. So now we're going to use these midpoints. So we don't need these anymore. Remember, we're still trying to find out the total number of points. Well, if there's 7 people that got 20 points, to get the total, we're going to multiply them together. And we're going to have to do it for each of these. So 7 times 20 is 140. 34 times 60 is 2040. 100 times 100. 100 times 100 is 10,000. And 9 times 140 is 1,260. So if we add these all together, this will tell us the total number of points awarded, 13,440. We want to divide it by the number of members, which is 150. And we get 89.6. Okay. Well, 89.6 is less than 90.3. He says the number of points has increased. Well, actually, we've done it the wrong way around. It was 90.3, it's gone to 89.6, so it's actually decreased. So is the president correct? No. Question 11. Hayden is organising activities for 80 students going on a school trip. The ratio of the number of students who can participate in swimming, rock climbing and go-karting is 5 to 3 to 2. Okay. Complete the activity list for Hayden. So we want to know how many students are doing each one. Well, we know there's 80 in total, so that's going to be our total there. So we've got, and I'm going to draw us a ratio table. And we're going to have swimming, rock climbing, go-karting, and then a total. So the ratio we've got is 5 to 3 to 2. And if that's all we had, well, 5 plus 3 plus 2, you can use your calculator, but that would give you 10. We've actually got a total of 80. So to work out the split of swimming, rock climbing and go-karting, we've got to say, well, how many times will this row fit into the new row? Or in other words, how do we get from 10 to 80? And we can say, well, let's do it backwards. Let's say 80 divided by 10. You can use your calculator, but you should be able to cancel. 8 divided by 1 is 8. So all of these need to be 8 times bigger. So let's get the calculator. So we start off with 5 times 8 for swimming, 3 times 8 for rock climbing, 2 times 8 for go-karting, and if we wanted to check 40 plus 24 plus 16 would equal 80, or does equal 80. So let's put the values in here, 40, 24 and 16. Question 12. Harper is a manager of a company. Last year the company made a profit of £975,050. This year Harper wants to increase the profit by 3.5%. Harper thinks the new profit will be more than, and that's £1,010,000. Is Harper correct? So first thing we want to do is to write this number in digits. So they made a profit of 975,000. So that's 975,050. So and 50, but you'll see something's missing. We haven't got any hundreds. So we just put a 0 in there. So £975,050. Harper wants to increase it by 3.5%. So we want 3.5 out of 100 to get the percent, multiplied by 975,050. And we're going to get £34,126.75. Now we want to add back on the original 975,050 because that's what it's increasing by. Well, it's increasing by the 34,000. And we get £1,009,176.70. Is it more than £1,010,000? Oh, sorry, £1,010,000? Well, actually, 10 would be slightly bigger. So, is Harper correct? No. So, just to write it out, we're saying that £1,009,176.70 is less than £1,010,000. And if you want to compare, you can just look at, we've got the same number of millions, same number of hundreds of thousands, but this has got 1/10,000, this hasn't got any. Question 13. A delivery driver keeps a record of the number of miles per gallon their car achieves each day. These are the results for week 2. So Monday it was 30 miles per gallon, Tuesday 38, and so on. This is a summary of the results for week 1. Here we go. A mean miles per gallon of 32 and a range of 16. The delivery driver claims, on average, the car achieved more miles per gallon in week 2 than in week 1. And the second claim is the miles per gallon achieved in week 2 were more consistent than in week 1. Let's see the actual question. Are each of the driver's claims correct? Give reasons for your answers. Okay. So we need to work out the mean and the range for week 2. Well, we said before that the mean is the total divided by the frequency. So let's work this out. So we want 30 plus 38 plus 22 plus 37 plus 40 plus 32 plus 39. So 238. And the frequency, well, it's going to be how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which gives us 34. And the range, they had 16 for week 1. It's the biggest number minus the smallest number. Well, the biggest number here is 40. The smallest number is 22. So the range is going to be 40 minus 22, which is 18. So these are the figures we're looking at. Okay, let's look at the claims. On average, the car achieved more miles per gallon in week 2 than in week 1. Okay, so are they correct? So for the first one, regarding claim A, we can say yes, because 34 is greater than 32. Now what about for claim B? That was that the miles per gallon achieved in week 2 were more consistent. Well, if they're more consistent, we would have a smaller range. We've got a bigger range. So we're going to say no. 18 is bigger than 16, so it's not more consistent. Question 14. A nursery asks Cameron to make 50 cylinder-shaped toy blocks using this design. So here's our cylinder, 12 centimetres high, and this is our radius here, from the centre to the outside, 3 centimetres. When the blocks are made, Cameron needs to paint them using glow-in-the-dark paint. Each tin has enough paint to cover 1,150 square centimetres. How many tins of paint will Cameron need to paint all 50 toy blocks? So first we've got to work out the surface area of this. So how much have we got to paint? And then we can work out how much we're going to need for 50 toy blocks. So we're going to have the top first of all. Okay, so the area of this, well, it's a circle, so it's going to be pi r squared, where pi is 3.14 and r is 3. So r squared would be 3 times 3. So 3.14 times 3 times 3, 28.26. That's going to be centimetres squared. Okay. So we've got to think, well, that's the top. We've also got the bottom. So we want to multiply that by 2. To give us 56.52. So I'll put top and bottom. Now we want to work out this round bit on the outside. And if you unrolled it, you'd get a rectangle which is 12 centimetres high. And the length of the rectangle is going to be the distance round that circle. So we want the circumference and we know that that's 2 pi r. So that's going to be 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times r, which is 3. So 2 times 3.14 times 3, so 18.84. So that's this length here. So the area will be 18.84 times 12, which is 226.08. That's going to be centimetres squared. Right, so where should we put this? The total area of cylinder will be the top and bottom plus the outside bit. which gives us a total of, we've still got that in our calculator, add the 56.52, get 282.6 centimetres squared. Right, that is for one cylinder. We've got 50 of them. So we want 282.6 times 50. Which is 14,130 centimetres squared. Okay, that's the total surface area of all 50 cylinders. We want to know how much paint he needs, and each tin of paint has enough to cover 1,150 square centimetres. So we want to know how many of these fit into this. So in other words, 14,130 divided by 1,150. And you'll notice each time I've left the answer in my calculator, so I don't have to type it back in. And we get 12.286956. That's going to be tins of paint. We can't buy 12.286 tins of paint, so we're going to have to go up to the next whole number. So we're going to need 13 tins. Because 12 wouldn't be enough, so we've got to go to the next one. Okay. And finally, we've got question 15. A family wants to cover this garden with grass. Okay, so we've got this shape here, 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. We've got parallel sides, so we've got a trapezium here. They will buy grass as turf in square metres. The family finds these prices online. So cost per square metre, must buy a whole number of square metres. Okay, so they can buy it for £5 a square metre, £3.80, £4.50, £5, £4.25 and £6. The family wants to pay the same amount as the modal cost. Okay, so I don't know why they're not just going for the cheapest one. They said they want the modal, probably because they think the quality might be better. So the modal means the one that occurs the most. Well, £5 occurs twice. £3.80 occurs only once. £4.50 only once. £4.25 once and £6. So that's our modal because it's the only one that occurs more than once. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is work out how many metres squared we've got and then multiply it by the £5. So we want the area of a trapezium. And hopefully you remember that that is half times A plus B times H, where A and B are the parallel sides. So this is A, this is B, doesn't matter which way round. And H is the height. So this is H. So if we just substitute that in, we're going to have 8.12 plus 5.65. Then multiply all of that by 4.18. So let's do the bit in the brackets first. So it's going to be a half times whatever this answer gives us. 8.12 plus 5.65 is 13.77, and then we still need to multiply it by 4.18. Well, a half, I can do 1 divided by 2, but I know that's going to give me 0.5 times 13.77 times 4.18. And that gives us 28.7793 metres squared. So if we now multiply this by our £5, we're going to get £143. Because it's money, we need 2 decimal places, so 8, 9. This is more than 5, so 5 or more we round up. So we have to add 1 on. So 89 becomes 90. So we've got £143 and 90p. Although, is that going to be the right answer for us? No, because they have said you must buy a whole number of square meters. Okay, so we can't just buy 28.779. We're going to need 29 meters squared. So forget that. Let's come down here. We're going to have 29 times 5. Which is £145. So good job I spotted that. But these are little things we've got to be careful of. So once you've done your answer, go back, check the question. Is there anything I missed? In this case, yes, there was, because it must be a whole number. So we then had to effectively round this up to 29. So that's the end of the paper. Hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn your notifications on so you get updated when I add more videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.